All right. Good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome into this week's first edition of NFT Live, this Monday edition. I'm glad to be sitting here with you officially now with Gifted. And Gift, I don't know if you saw the chat, but everyone was anxiously awaiting your appearance. So is everything okay? Did you get your towel milk? Is everything good?
Yeah. Well, all right. First and foremost, is my audio good?
It is.
All
I think we're good. I think we're good.
We're good. So sometimes when you're transitioning from one show to the next and you haven't done anything, like having washed my face this morning, and just you roll out of bed and you go live. You hit live. You just running and gunning, plug and play. Sometimes it takes a moment to get situated, get the camera and all that shit. So we're here. I'm happy to be here with you. We're doing it. This might be the only show we do this week.
That's fair. We are going to Austin. Let me get that set up for you guys real quick. We've been talking about Austin for like the last 3 weeks. We have a Web3 lounge at Highbrow, Lowbrow. It's going to be an awesome location on Wednesday, April 26th, 4 to 8 p.m. I think we have like 600 RSVPs or something like that.
Over 600. Yeah, because we have Eventbrite too. Yeah, it's... Again, we were actually, it's interesting. We were talking this morning about how a lot of people treat RSVPs like allow lists these days. So you never know. Like, what does that really mean? Like, what percentage of people are going to come out of the 600 plus? But it's a good sign.
We could be, they could be botting it. We incentivized it with tokens. So it's like Blur. You never know.
The Web3 lounge token that we're airdropping to people who are, they're just farming it back and forth. They're just RSVPing and then un-RSVPing and then RSVPing again from a bunch of different email addresses, trying to gamify this shit.
Back and forth. Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, we got smart community members here in chat. So I'm gonna give you all a shout out really quick because they were here early and we were all collectively here ready for the show. So Squashman says our vibe, our tribe. Prodigy saying OVOT late AF. Nox Darkness says OVOT. Justin Case says they just don't care anymore. You know what? Who's late in a bear market? Can you ever be late in a bear market? Like if you're here, you're gonna be here. Like we'll start the show whenever we start it. Okay?
We're here. But no, yeah, Squashman is right though. The pre-workout is now officially mixed in the coffee, and we're good to go.
Squash also is saying, Gift, don't forget to pick up your Starbucks Odyssey Rewards benefit today. It unlocks at noon on the Odyssey portal. So our resident Starbucks user here.
I've been slacking so hard, bro. I need to spend more time because I started working on my stamps, but I haven't done all the things yet. And I just need to invest a little bit more time and energy. Because here, I was actually thinking about this. Like, how much money does the average coffee drinker in the US who goes to Starbucks spend at Starbucks in 1 year? It's probably
$50 a week, maybe $50 a week, 52 weeks.
If it's really that much, let's just say it's even say $25 a week, right? Like $25 times 52,
$2,500.
Let's just say anywhere between $1,000 to $2,000 a year, and that's average. And that's a year. So imagine you're spending like $1,500 a year at Starbucks. It's probably more, honestly, if you drink a ton of coffee like I do. And then if you start to understand, they're really trying to offer a unique rewards experience here. What could that be worth over your lifetime? Yes. Potentially thousands of dollars just, on the coffee side of things, not to mention other cool things like maybe having stamps that are rare that get flipped because this community is actually a globally vibrant, engaged community. So I don't know. I started thinking about it more and I'm like, dude, I'm in the beta. I've started doing a little bit. I'm tracking it, but I'm not putting in enough time and energy right now to actually maximize and make sure that I get ahead on this thing. That's how I feel right now.
How I felt about the Starbucks shop from the beginning was I'm not one of those people that is frequently Starbucks. So I'm actually saving money by not joining the Starbucks Odyssey because then I would have to actually get involved and probably spend money that I wouldn't be spending otherwise. So if I was a hardcore Starbucks user, I don't see why this would be a bad play. It's a really cool activation by them. Hey, real quick, we just started today's NFT Live. If this is your first time here, we cover the NFT news all week long, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard. We have this awesome community that updates us with different projects that, you know, frankly, we have to do the show. Sometimes we miss out on 12 p.m. drops, you know, so some noon drops. But Squashman and others like him are part of this great community. So we appreciate y'all very much keeping us up to date. If you could leave a like on today's episode, that would be amazing. I'm gonna get to some of the topics. We got a fat lineup here of topics today. So we got Ryder Ripps versus Bored Ape Yacht Club. Where's Marty? Where's Marty? Marty came in every episode for like a month straight talking about Ryder Ripps, how Ryder Ripps is going to win the lawsuit against Bored Ape Yacht Club.
That's probably why he's not here. Honestly,
it might be. He's hiding.
He just didn't want to actually have to like have this combo.
So the big story for today, though, the MetaMask airdrop. I'm going to link this tweet here for you guys because we're going to do another giveaway. We've been doing ApeCoin giveaways like crazy. Shout out to Yuga Labs making that staking available. It definitely helps individuals out. But anyways, ApeCoin giveaway, $25 USD worth of ApeCoin. You only have to go to the comment section, leave a comment on what you'd like to hear us talk about here. Nox Darkness is already getting a little bit ahead of this, saying, I'm really bullish on Ape. I could use a bit of education now that I'm holding on to some. Prodigy, you won last week's giveaway, so definitely hit me up and let me know your ETH address. I can get you those $25 worth. And yeah, I just dropped a tweet. Leave a comment there. Otherwise, I'm gonna set this up. I really wanted to start today with some super positive vibes. So GIF, I'm gonna show one video here that everybody is going to love. Hopefully you enjoy it. We've been following this team for a long time. It's been an arduous journey, and they did it. CRAWLEY Town, baby.
He's left-hand side of the penalty area. Work to do as he cuts it all the way back, and it's behind Kemp. Comes through to Sterry, takes a touch and drills one! Oh, and a save! Back out to Amir, who's offside. But what a strike from Jamie Sterry.
Well, dude, look at that Chromie Squiggle jersey.
So congratulations to CRAWLEY Town United. These guys have been battling. Battling is a word, and I'm not using it lightly, to stay above the relegation zone that they were fighting with. And let me make sure, I believe it was Hartlepool that they just played, and Hartlepool was the second to get relegated here. So we have a team that's already being relegated by points. There's no way they can not be. And then they had Hartlepool and CRAWLEY Town. So this matchup this weekend was basically to secure who was going to get relegated. And due to their win against Hartlepool, we're going up.
We're not going up. Staying
we're going down. Up. Staying, yeah. Anyways, we're not going up. Maybe next year, though. Maybe next year when we play Wrexham FC.
Yeah, it provides another opportunity to go up in next season and doesn't absolutely destroy the WAGMI dream any more than it already was. It's a big deal. It is. Like even if you don't care, it would have been really bad for WAGMI United to get relegated here. And I'm very excited. And it's literally, again, I didn't buy one. I'm not invested in it right now other than emotionally, but I literally feel like a giant weight off my back.
Yeah.
No, because it's just such a nightmare to think of what would have happened if they got relegated. And so, you know what? Those Chromie Squiggle jerseys are going to actually, get more airtime and get people a little bit more excited.
Thank Jesus.
Season. Yeah. And it's cool, man.
Yeah.
I love seeing it.
So we were actually talking about this on the morning show here just a few moments ago, and I want to get your take on how that went. But this actually helps holders, actually this staying up and not getting relegated, and the team basically, or the fans basically voting the management team out or the ownership out, helps if you hold a WAGMI United PFP and card. So yeah, holders, we survive another year.
Yeah, it definitely makes a little bit of a difference for the holders. But also the interesting thing about this is, within these English and a lot of these European soccer or football leagues that have this promotion relegation battle going on, when you get to the end of the season like this, there's kind of like a little bit of a middle ground that's kind of like, okay, it's okay. We're going to be here next season. Let's kind of start focusing ahead. But there's two key battles that are happening around the top and the bottom, right? So it kind of like bifurcates. And you've got this kind of like, there's a few teams in the middle that are just kind of like, okay, we're probably not going to like really excel or win the league or make it into Champions League or, Europa League or any of those like top 5, 6 spots. But then at the bottom, you just really don't want to be in those bottom like 3 spots or 2 spots or, whatever it is for that specific league. And so there's these really unique battles at either end of the table. Right. And so this has basically been this battle, as you're calling it, at the bottom end of this table to just not drop below that line and be one of the bottom-most teams, because those are the ones that get relegated down.
Okay, so we're going to move on from WAGMI United. Hopefully we can continue covering them here. Maybe have the ownership team, once that weight, again, being off their shoulders, maybe they can get back to maybe marketing.
We need to get them on the show. We should talk to them.
Yeah.
I want to hear how they're feeling right now. You know what I mean?
Probably fucking great. All right, the other topics on today's
probably
show.
Sleeping. They're probably getting the first sleep that they've had in weeks right now, is what I'd imagine.
100%. I agree with that. Prodigy's in the house saying, goal. Justin Casey is on your case this morning here. To his namesake here, gift token trades on Cardano.
False.
That's unfortunate.
It is on Dogecoin. It is on Doge.
It's a solid move. Interesting narrative you're playing off of there. All right, this is the biggest news of today. We'll cover this here after the quick hits portion of today's episode. Of course, we have an NFT Go Bag Check. Take a look at the collections and how the market is doing. And again, we're going to follow that community topics post. So if you guys want to go to our tweet here on the latest episode of NFT Live, you can go there, drop a community topic that you like, and if we pick it, you win $25 in ApeCoin. Otherwise, let's hit the first piece of quick news. Yuga Labs wins big in NFT lawsuit against Ryder Ripps. We have this post by NFT Evening, but we also have multiple tweet threads here covering Ryder Ripps's court case against Yuga Labs. Ryder was the defendant here. Essentially, Yuga, I believe, went after him for, copyright infringement and all of these different things. And essentially, Ryder fought this for a little while. I think the sentiment was, hey, the Bored Ape Yacht Club, this was an artistic expression where I was able to, take that, whatever they did, but also kind of make satire of it. And that was my artistic expression. Therefore, it's not under that copyright or intellectual property. And the court actually found that is not the case. So false designation of origin, cyber squatting, First Amendment, Rogers defense, fair use, unclean hands, DMT takedown, a lot of legalese here, but we can hop into it. But yes, big win for Yuga to publicly be able to say, hey, Ryder Ripps, stuff it.
Yeah. Look, whether or not there is some kind of artistic expression here, which I personally don't think there's much there, but whether or not there is, you can't separate it here from the commercial asset part of this and then the trademark infringement part of this. And that's basically what this came down to, is they're like, yeah, that's fine. You can say all this, but also it doesn't make it better that you're creating confusion in the marketplace and profiting off of these trademarks. And also that there is bad faith, to your argument, because you're taking down a bunch of money with the copy pasta here without a bunch of creativity coming into this. It's literally a copy pasta. There's not you put a whole bunch of thought and effort into creating some kind of really unique perspective here, or some kind of, there's not a clear point of view other than hey, I'm taking your shit and you can't stop me. So yeah, it was interesting to hear in GM Web3 some of the counter arguments, or people that were kind of pointing out oh, Ryder is an established artist. He is a real artist. and he's done this and that. He's not just a troll. Like, he's actually created good stuff. And that's part of why, you know, like, this might have some kind of merit to it.
Yeah.
But again, all of that does not justify straight up ripping off trademarks. And that's the biggest, like, if he had named it something else or didn't use Bored Ape Yacht Club or the names or like any of that stuff, I think it would have been so much easier for him to make this case, right? Because you're not directly infringing on trademarks and creating confusion in the marketplace. Like, you have to understand why this is so important. And that's that, like, in marketplaces, you have to have both consumer and brand protections. You have to have some. Otherwise, what do you get? You get a bunch of fake Teslas or like cars out there that are exploding, right? It's like you can't actually set up and protect a brand or a business because there's no rules and everybody's just copying your shit and infringing and stealing all of your IP all the time. Like, these are important things. And so, yeah, like, whether or not there's ways for you to, you know, make an artist statement or parody or something else, there's also clear lines that have to be upheld. Otherwise, it's just chaos and it's actually dangerous. So, clearly the judge here is coming down on the side that, like, you just kind of crossed the lines here. Like, this isn't artistic integrity. You're just stealing shit, bro, and creating chaos in the market.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in y'all's take here as well as it comes to this court case. We've covered a couple different court cases that actually get referenced here. The Hermes NFT bags. I don't know if you remember that. There's a reference in this finding that references Hermes, which is dope to see.
I like the way you say Hermes.
Whatever. Hermes.
Yeah,
Hermes.
Dude, no, but let's call it Hermes. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna kind of for that.
Rhymes with herpes. So I'm good with it.
So hey, Gif, one thing as well along the lines, you can tell I'm not a Hermes collector. But anyways, the video quality on your side is kind of it's good quality, but it's a little bit laggy. I don't know if you can fix that from your end, but if not, there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, I'll probably have to jump in and out if you want me to.
That's cool.
I can try it.
Yeah, we can do that. We can wait for you for a sec.
I'll try it.
All right. While we're waiting for Gifted to see if his video quality can improve, I would love your guys' take on the Ryder Ripps finding with Bored Ape Yacht Club. Is it a big deal? Honestly, it's probably. I would lean on the side of this being a pretty big deal of like getting this out of the way for one of the largest projects in the NFT space. Just being under a lawsuit that at first it felt like they weren't necessarily going to win straight up. Let's see, we got Gifted back, but it seems like again this is a big win for BAYC. All right, Gift, let's see what do you got. It's pretty good. It's not crystal, but I mean the quality is good. It's just kind of that lag, if you will. So, anyways, court finds NFTs are eligible for trademark protections despite being intangible, citing Hermes as NFTs are purchased to exclusively own the content associated with the NFT, not the digital deed divorced from any other asset. Court finds that BAYC marks are used in commerce as required under trademark law. Court also shoots down that Yuga transferred or abandoned its trademark rights through naked licensing and failure to police. This is important, I think, because the BAYC logo and the subsequent IP is used for like commercially. I think that's a huge portion of this. Like Ryder used that IP to then make a ton of money for himself. I think that's a super important aspect of why he was eventually, found to have been on the wrong side of the law here.
Absolutely. I do think that point, though, about NFTs being able to be protected and trademarked is actually a big W for the space. If you want this space to actually grow and succeed long term, then you have to have some kind of like consumer and brand protections. You have to be able to set up a business and run a business successfully. And so, the court could have just said, hey, this is all nonsense. Nobody cares about this shit. It's all trash. It's not worth, protecting, or like, I don't know what they would have said. Right. But instead, the court sees value here, right? The court's saying like, no, this is a legit asset. These are legit trademarks. This shit matters. So I don't know. To me, that's actually really bullish for builders in the space.
Yeah, cyber squatting was another one of the charges here. So 8market.com found to be confusing, similar to Yuga's marks. That's pretty interesting. I guess there was it's probably not the name itself, but whatever was on that landing page, that it probably had the BAYC logo and things like that. I could see that.
Yeah, and just in case, he's actually throwing in an interesting part here. Ordinal's wallet tweeted that they were taking down 2 projects launched with BAYC likeness. Lawyers called them and they agreed to take down projects. So again, this is, people that have been getting away with copy pasting and just kind of ripping off other artists' shit are starting to get taken to task.
Yeah.
I know that, like,
better line though.
I mean, it's straight up like profiting. Yeah. It's stealing. The infringing part comes from when you're actually profiting off of somebody else's stuff, right?
Yeah.
And again, there's a difference between actually creating a legit derivative or parody versus just a straight up, steal, like just copying and pasting something. So I know that everybody wants to just be like, oh, it's laissez-faire, it's the Wild Wild West, and so everybody can do everything. But like, actually, that's not a way forward, right? It's just not, because then again, you get a environment, an ecosystem that is rife with fraud, that is not safe, that cannot continue to grow and invite more people in. If you want to onboard people into the space, they've got to feel somewhat safe. And I know that, like, a lot of us are far out there on the risk spectrum, so we're just like YOLOing our fucking lives into this thing, and who cares, but you can't get everybody in that way, right? Yeah. Like, if we actually want more people to come, and then, again, this is the case for Web 2.5 and big brands, because they understand this. They understand that they can't invite their community and their customers and their audiences into a thing where there's zero protections and they just get rugged by a bunch of scammers. So what they're doing is they're creating these sort of like Web 2.5 intermediate steps that have, custodial wallets or their own platforms built on Polygon or whatever. So it's they're able to control the environment a little bit more, ensure some safety, while also, building those bridges out to the decentralized world or utilizing some of the Web3 technology that makes it interesting and valuable. But that's why, like, I was tweeting that, around the .swoosh airdrop that I got, again, shout out Nike .swoosh. I got one of those posters. I was tweeting that, big brands, big global consumer brands like Starbucks, like Nike they're the ones that are going to Trojan horse Web3 to the masses, right? By doing these types of things, like what .swoosh and what Starbucks Odyssey are doing, because most people don't need to know that they're dealing with NFTs or the blockchain or whatever, right? This is actually how we get it out to the masses, because it's a little bit safer, it's a little bit easier.
No, I completely agree with you, man. I think it is a general, like, balancing experiment with some of the things that we want to be true and some of the things that need to happen, right? Like, I do, in most cases, want to use that laissez-faire approach. I mean, Ryder Ripps was a specific example where he was, like, actively almost attacking he 100% was, like, going after Bored Apes. So I feel like Yuga having this, enforcement and all this stuff actually is warranted. Whereas I don't think I want a broad brush or all of these court cases coming against a lot of, new NFT projects. I think I take more of a laissez-faire approach to that. But I understand it's a balancing act that we need to play here. Like, it can't, utopian view set of, like, being able to have a very, like, hands-off approach, but also not having a bunch of scams, I don't think can exist. I just think some of that we have to work through in this space. So outside of, again, Ryder Ripps being like, BAYC are Nazis, like Yuga Labs are Nazis, or people that are, like, kind of predominantly pushing this narrative of Nazism behind the scenes and, like, little, different Easter eggs and things like this. I want them to get fucked for that. I don't necessarily want a lot of regulation or a lot of hands-on court cases with the NFT space, if you kind of get my meaning. I don't know if that's too utopian, but
It is a little bit, right? It's kind of like, where does the sort of like the idealism or the dream of anarchy or libertarianism fall apart? And that's that, like, when there's zero regulation or accountability, then bad actors rule, right? And so, like, what I'll point to as an example that was like shocking to me of how bad the situation is was around the time when the free mint meta popped off, like after Goblin Town, and everybody started just creating these free mints to try and pump a quick bag and get some secondary volume. There was a month or like a moment there when it was discovered that about 80% of all NFT volume were on fraudulent collections, where people were literally just stealing artists' work and then creating a new project, launching a new project with just copy pasting some other artist's work. Like a lot of Tezos artists were having their shit ripped off of Tezos and just dropped on ETH as a free mint. 80% of all NFT volume at that point was all fraud. That's what that is. You are getting people to buy into something that you do not own, that is stolen from other artists. So it's like, yeah, it's nice to think like, oh, we can all just get along, or the market will just sort itself out.
Yeah.
But
people lose money in the meantime. Yeah. It's just, I don't want to go too far down the other spectrum is what I mean. You know, like if we have to go, if we have to go to the courts every time we have a problem in the NFT space, whereas, you know, instead of like letting free market systems kind of work themselves out, like I'll give you another example. Like ICOs like had the same thing in that cycle. You dealt with like a lot of scam projects. People would send ETH to a address that popped up on a landing page, and that's how you got your tokens in return. Some people never got tokens in return. You know, there were a lot of scam projects. I wasn't truly asking for the US to come down super hard on the technology or ICOs because that happened. Because in my opinion, that's where the overreach happens, and that's where we have a ton of regulation come in that I don't necessarily, you know, want that heavy-handed approach just because people are getting wrecked. Like it is the Wild West that we talked about. But I think we're both kind of in agreement for the most part on this one.
Yeah. I mean, another just like quick like example or like an economic term is called the tragedy of the commons, which is like a well-known economic principle that basically says when it is like just a free resource, then unfortunately it gets abused if people don't, you know, if there's no guidelines on how to take care of it, right? So anyway, I feel like this is a good segue into like talking about Fed Now and all that shit, and like what happens on the other side of the spectrum. But
Dude, I want to touch on the Gutter Cat Gang toolkit real quick, because you know, speaking of intellectual property, I think what the Gutter Cat Gang here is trying to do is make it easier for their community to share out a lot of what's happening. Can we actually,
to set this up better, I think, can we play the Bored Ape Yacht Club video from yesterday? Because I think that is what this is all about.
Yeah, let me do that really quick. I can pull that up. Give me just a sec, folks. Yeah. Oh, you know what this would be a good time to do? You know what I'm asking for. We're not financial advisors yet, so we have to do this.
Yeah, we're working on those CPAs. Swear it. So, all right, this is important, fam. We say it all the time, but it's for your protection and for ours. This is not financial advice, and the information was found publicly on the internet. Opinions shared on this episode are solely of the Web3 team. All information is public domain, so please DYOR or do your own research, because we are not responsible for anybody's bags other than our own. We're just talking about weird shit on the internet.
All right, I have not watched this. This is the 2-year anniversary.
Oh, you haven't watched it?
From the Bored Ape Yacht Club. I'm excited. The Yuga show starts now.
Let's go.
The IP piece of the puzzle was the thing that took it to the next level. When we put this out, we had no idea it would become this big.
Happy 2-year ape-versary, fam. No, that is literally what Gutter Cat Gang's announcement in this creator toolkit is all about. They're trying to empower the community to, get the most out of the IP and help them build the brand, right? That's what it is. But yeah, it's cool to see a nice recap video there of, some of the amazing places that Bored Apes have already gone. I didn't notice yesterday when I watched it, actually, the Bored Barbers, apparently that's up in Toronto. Where I just was. One of my buddies was talking about, how he wanted to go there, but it was kind of far for him, so he didn't make it yet. But
where is Bored and Hungry? Isn't Bored and Hungry in Cali?
I think it's near LA. I haven't been out to their location. I've been to like some events that they've done like pop-ups at. I think they might have one in Miami too. I think they have more than one location already.
Can you please go and do like a rating? Like I need like a full like breakdown of Bored and Hungry. I want to see if they're actually any good. I mean, it looked good, but
yeah, I've heard good things.
Squash is saying IP development, resources, toolkits, networking are still the lowest hanging fruit that most NFT projects do not provide. It's shocking, really. In a time where people are asking for more utility or more things to do, or saying, hey, how are these more than just JPEGs? The ability to show off, like we just saw with the whole Bored Ape ecosystem over the last 2 years, it's right there. It's right there for you guys. I mean, it's a lot harder to do than just saying it out loud. Like, why can't you guys just do that? But it is a start. And I think we see a little bit of that with the Gutter Cat Gang kind of being like, hey, we want to help you guys develop whatever you want to do with the IP from Gutter Cat Gang, which is a phenomenal move.
Oniforce is also investing very, very heavily in community empowerment tools as well. And I think Squashman is right. What he's saying is that IP development, resources, toolkits, networking are still the lowest hanging fruit that most NFT projects do not provide, which is really kind of shocking. And yeah, I think that the smart projects are understanding that empowering the community is one of the best places that they can be investing right now. So you know what? I actually think that this is very bullish. This is a bullish step for Gutter Cats if they can actually make this valuable and interesting and people actually want to participate and help build it.
It's also something that like stands out as being unique to NFTs. The ability to have that incentive mechanic. Like that's not something that traditionally is offered when you're part of a community that is in Web 2. You don't really have the values aligned in the same way that you would with owning a Bored Ape and wanting to see that IP become more valuable. Correct? Like that feels like a very unique NFT thing to do that, again, like you're saying, NFT projects are starting to figure this out or starting to roll it out, but it's just not happening across the board.
Yeah. It's understanding the symbiotic nature of these communities, right? It's like without the community being hyper engaged, you really don't have anything at the end of the day. And so if you can't figure out ways to value and empower them and allow them to get more out of the experience of being part of that and like what they can do with the IP, it doesn't really matter. And I actually really like Raoul Pal's point where he says that culture is a use case. And I actually think for NFTs, it's one of the primary use cases right now, right? Like
that was what Yacht said. Remember that Yacht clip like 5
just,
seconds ago? Yeah.
There's not that much other than trying to, create awesome interactive IP that the community latches onto. It becomes a meme. It becomes something valuable that people love. There's not that many other awesome utilities, or use cases beyond culture and IP right now. And so, yeah, I think it's great to see Gutter Cat Gang continuing to build and doing it in a way that empowers their community. So this will be something cool to check in on, just see, a couple months out, what is this netted? What kind of momentum do they get?
So introducing the GCG Community Toolkit, a curated and ever-growing collection of GCG community brand assets that acts as a helpful resource for Gutter members looking to create with their digital collectibles or build standalone brands. The toolkit includes the GCG Community Brand Book, fur patterns, typefaces, beats, brand colors, and community badge. Here are some examples. And they offer an example of a basketball, logos or stickers to put on like a MacBook. You got a snowboard here, as well as, t-shirts, merchandise, stuff like that. I don't know if I'm a big fan of using GCG community. Like, to me, that I don't know if I like that logo in and of itself, but if you're able to use like this type of I think what they call it is fur patterns or other things specific to GCG in this, I'm cool with it. But I don't necessarily know if I'm rocking the GCG community tag.
It's a start. Hey, I mean, look, I actually agree with you. Like, to me, I'm like, that's not that cool. It would be hard to get me like super excited about slapping that on everything.
Yeah.
But it's a start. And so, you know what? They'll see how that does. Maybe there'll be community improvements to that. Maybe there'll be suggestions about like, hey, wouldn't it be cooler if we could do this? But you don't know until you try it out and you get that dialogue going, right? So how many other projects are specifically creating sub brands or expressions of their brand for the community to go out and run with like that? Like, not that many that I can think of. You know what I mean? Not yet. But again, I see this as a trend right now, or the smart community is doing more of this. I think, again, OniForce is actually doing a lot of this type of thing.
Dude, I thought of just like aping hard into OniForce. You know that wallet that I told you I found a bunch of like
the old jacket pocket.
The old jacket pocket. I was like, man, I should just buy a fuck ton of Onis. Like, that feels like a really good,
dude. Sweet, do a blur sweep, bro. I mean? What's the
do the blur sweep? I could be Machi for a day.
Yeah,
it's like 0.7. I was checking the floor. A lot of cool comments came through. You already mentioned the Squashman comment talking about IP development. Flubber said it's like a franchise setup where BAYC holders each can run their own little side hustle. Choina, who is a resident Avagachi, just absolute like fanatic, but also like a gamer as well, said, I was personally kind of surprised when they pivoted into a game, or was that always in the roadmap? I haven't followed too closely. I always like the BAYC club event IP route, seems so successful. I think they're trying to do both, right? So Bored Ape Yacht Club, I think, is specifically, able to kind of branch into different sectors, whereas the other side they've set up as their specific kind of brand that is the game. So they're able to continue to do this on the culture side with Bored Ape Yacht Club and also have the ability to jump into the other side when they want. But when other side came out and they started to move this route, I remember sitting up here with you being like, this is very surprising that they're like going fully almost 90%. It felt like all of their effort and energy was headed toward the other side, whereas previously, like Choin is saying, BAYC has been a culture brand, has been, the events, the merchandise, the IP rights and all that stuff that you see there in the previous video. Them saying, oh, we're going to be a gaming company is crazy.
I think it's actually brilliant, and it totally makes sense. Really, it's just I think the shocker, or the part that we're all sort of like nervous about or anxious about, is like, again, if you know how hard it is to launch a game, and you've looked at the slew of unsuccessful or dead games in Web3, you just start to be like, oh shit, can they really like support all of this? Can they do it well? Can they keep the high standard of execution that they've established while doing all of this and try and launch this big game and do all this? And so far, I think that they're showing how serious they are and that they are doing a good job. But that's the initial thing, is just like, damn, can they actually do all of this? Do they have the resources? Do they have the expertise? And I think that they've been moving very methodically. Their execution, I do not think, has wavered. I think it's still been incredibly high, better than like anybody out there, really. But yeah, it's like, it does actually make total sense if you put it all together, the way that all of it feeds back into each other and creates more value, right? Because how many airdrops can you do? How many clothing merch lines can you do? How many, Bored Ape rap concerts can you do? You have to have more to the ecosystem, more ways to create value for collectors, to gamify it, to create engagement, and build. And, actually having an open world metaverse, if you can accomplish that people want to be in, if you can have an actual economy online, with your own token and places for people to go and use it and earn it and do different things. I mean, shit, man, if you can pull that off, It's massive.
Honestly, Squash is saying he wants another black hoodie, so you could just launch more editions of black hoodies in perpetuity.
I'm literally staring at a chair across my table that has like 4 black hoodies on it right now.
Join just to give more context here as well. You should check out the Gordon Goner and Crypto Garga podcast of fucking Metaverse when they had Larva Labs on. If you want to know why they pivoted to the game, is because these two guys are hardcore gamers. Like literally half of the podcast is dedicated to how they played EverQuest online back in like the early 2000s, and like that was their thing. And they're hardcore like fantasy gamer nerds essentially, and that's why it was so tough to see Gordon leave, because I love the podcast, but it gave you insights into both of their kind of headspace and who they were, which gives you more insight into who Yuga is. Although as the brand grows, that obviously gets farther and farther away from that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it just also makes sense for again, it's like you're talking about digital assets, digital worlds of the metaverse, all this shit. It's like the existing metaverses, like real, Ready Player One metaverses are games. That's what it is, right? And again, it's a very lucrative big business. There's established models for DLC that people understand that are out there. And yeah, Web3 tech can integrate. We've talked about it. It integrates very naturally into all of it. But also, I want to shout out Cam Taylor down here saying Chiptos are building 14 full body Unreal Engine game ready avatars for anyone to use. So you know what? That's freaking dope. And that's how Chiptos are continuing to empower their community and build out their IP. And they look amazing, by the way. We really haven't featured them that much on this show, but I share it, or I talk about it a little bit on GM Web3, and definitely been following along. They look dope.
Okay, so we had a comment earlier from, I believe, Squashman that was talking about Layer Zero. I'll briefly pull this up. This is Masari.
He was Justin Casey.
Oh, was it Justin? He said many applications are beginning to experiment with unique ways to compose Layer Zero messaging system and create complex omni-chain applications, lending protocols, yield aggregators, NFT marketplaces, yada yada yada. Omni-chain. That's the first time I've heard that terminology. But here, I mean, I'm looking at it. Obviously, if this is going to be in their ecosystem, we haven't, seen any of these projects yet. It's tough for even me to see. But at the bottom here, you can see, I think, Layer 1 protocols, right? You got Ethereum, Polygon, which is a Layer 2. Avalanche is here. So we haven't done any deep dives on Layer 0. But apparently that token sale is upcoming. Please, Justin, if you got more info, let us know. But yeah, another, protocol a la kind of Arbitrum or Avalanche, or what we see with Solana and Polygon. Interesting that I have not heard about Layer 0. So, folks, we are in. Go ahead, Gif.
Yeah, I haven't really either, but I definitely want to learn more.
All right, something a little bit off the cuff here. I just right before we went live, I saw this tweet. I thought it was funny. We haven't done a rate my bags in a long time, but this Twitter profile, Bud Fox, a big influencer here in NFT, in the NFT ecosystem, basically is like making analogies to projects right now. So just a fun little lightning segment here. He's saying the status of NFTs right now: BAYC, Michael Jackson, at some point a bit weird. I don't know about that one. Punks are the Beatles. They're a bit overrated. Azuki is Blackpink. Don't know why. Clone X is Maroon 5. They're sellouts. Moonbirds are Milli Vanilli. Goblins are R. Kelly, and Doodles are Nickelback. Actually, I think the Doodles being Nickelback is probably the closest one on here. First
Nickelback fucking rocks, actually.
Why Milli Vanilli? And they're saying that Moonbirds is Milli Vanilli because they're pretenders just faking it. They sound good, but it's not real. So what a list here. Do we agree with this list on anything?
This feels like okay. We were talking this morning about is trolling art? this is to me where you're making trolling a little bit of an art form, because there's like creative expression happening here, right? You're getting a rise out of people, you're fudding, you're being a fucking troll, but you're doing it in kind of like a fun, creative way. So to me, this is just creative trolling. This is this is the art of trolling and engagement farming. You're gonna get everybody butthurt because you're commenting on their bags in weird ways. But I mean, it's subjective, right? Like, I don't necessarily agree with any of them, other than maybe I thought the CryptoPunks being the Beatles that's the closest one that I'm like,
why are we dissing R. Kelly like that? I thought the Doodles with Nickelback is good. I thought that was a pretty good one. Everybody kind of flames them a little bit. You know, they're kind of like, oh, the Doodles, like I don't know if I like them, but at the end of the day, it's quality. That's so the thing. Good. That's the thing with Nickelback is like people give them a bunch of shit. Dude, they have a lot of hits. They have like 10 hits.
They're like one of the biggest bands of all time. That's what people like. You know, people flame them because the guy's got ramen noodle hair and whatever, and that's fine. But like, they got some bangers.
Okay. I want to give one look based on that tweet.
Have you heard Photograph?
I want to give.
Have you heard
look
Photograph?
At this graph. Have you seen that meme? Yeah. All right, we are off the rails here on NFT Live. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Monday.
We're talking about music. We should hit that Grimes tweet.
We should.
That's actually a pretty interesting.
I'm down to transition to the Grimes right after a brief look at a brief look. Do we have anything? Because that tweet that we just looked at reminded me of like, okay, we haven't looked at Rate My Bags in a while. We're not going to do a segment, but
it hurts my brain to look at this right now with where this, like, I feel like I need to be more mentally prepared coming into the show to do this justice, because right now all I can think about is our bags being down, and like right now I would drop almost all of these down to wrecked. You know what I mean? Like,
Cock Punch has got to be in D or wrecked category, man.
Like it would.
We gave it some time.
The whole thing is wrecked right now, and that's why this hurts my brain. I don't like it.
I don't like it. Turn it off. Oni can move up. Azuki could probably move up.
Change the channel.
Yeah. All right. We're changing the channel. We're moving on. The brief look at Rate My Bags. Maybe we'll do that next week sometime. Maybe we can kind of jump back in and rearrange our bags.
You just got to prepare me. You got to let me know ahead of time that we're going to do it.
I'll let
you come in emotionally ready.
I'll give you 48 hours warning. Okay. So you'll know that.
Appreciate that.
Well, let's hit the grind. I don't have, let me make sure I have this Grimes tweet, but in the meantime, just to wrap up that last combo, WAGME does a brief video animation, kind of trailer every week. We didn't watch the last week's one, but I want to do this. I want to like make this a recurring thing so we can keep up on what's happening in, the WAGME in 10KTF. Let's see what's going on. Okay, not that much info from that one. That one might have been the worst one that I've seen so far.
Well, I know how much you love just the like ridiculous, spec hype. People just driving like hype over like announcements of announcements. Well, this is a high quality announcement of an announcement. Did you see that animation? Did you see those sparks?
Oh yeah, dude. The train waits for no one. Can you? Could you give me less information in a cooler way? No, you could not.
Have you bought in?
No,
I mean, look, that is clearly other side. The train is going to the other side.
Is it? Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's in the boneyard. He's definitely in the boneyard there.
Yeah, this is clearly other side.
Okay.
So have you bought into 10KTF yet?
No, I have not. If I did, I would buy a G tag.
The train's about to take off, Q.
G-Tag. The train waits for no one. You're right. All right.
Waits for no one.
Grimes is saying, I'll split 50% royalties on any successful AI-generated song that uses my voice. Same deal as I would with any artist I collab with. Feel free to use my voice without penalty. I have no label and no legal bindings. The title of this is an AI hit of fake Drake, and The Weeknd rattles the music world. I would tell you that this music video is a little bit loud, so make sure you do what you got to do. But this is the one they're talking about.
I came in with my ex like Selena, the flex, bumping Justin Bieber, the fever and left.
All right, that is that AI track that apparently everyone's. I mean, I love it. I don't know if you
slaps, bro. This shit straight up slaps.
Is it on Spotify? Like, what's the?
So it was. They took it down.
Oh, they took it down.
They took it down. So the guy he published it with the song, like when he released it, and he's like, it's on all streaming platforms, and that's why it rattled the music industry, because they're like, again, we've already been talking about infringement.
See,
this is clearly infringement.
Okay,
right? Because it's like you are using Drake and The Weeknd, their names and their likenesses and their voices and their sound. Like, this is complete infringement, creating all types of confusion and profiting off of their all of that likeness, sound, everything. So right, the what's interesting here is Grimes taking a very unique, progressive, innovative approach to this. Again, empowering the community, but what she talks about is she has no legal binding. She has no label. That's why she's able to do this.
Okay.
Right.
And on the other hand of this GIF, because we just had the copyright discussion with the Ryder Ripps, it seems, and I'm going to pull up her comment to this tweet thread. I think it's cool to be fused with a machine, and I like the idea of open sourcing all art and killing copyright.
I don't know that makes sense. I feel like that's kind of her getting out there a little bit into our artistic territory, right? You know what I mean? Let's just fucking kill copyright. It's like she's trying to be like, look, she's edgy. That is her brand. And she's being innovative here, and she's taking a unique stance. But again, it's like, this to me is like it's kind of like being like, yeah, I believe in anarchy. Fuck the system. And it's like, cool. That sounds really dope. But also, no, like we're not all in fifth grade, and that's not how society actually operates. So it's cool. I get what she's doing. I wanted to pull up another thing here that's actually like, I think it's pretty dope. That's kind of like where she's going with all this, because she's got this whole like elf tech thing. I don't know, like Cyber magazine, and she's like talking about
send me
the
tweet.
future. The future is elf tech.
Future is elf tech.
Yeah, I look. I like high fantasy, and I like cyberpunk future tech. So like this elf tech shit that she's on totally like hits my sweet spot. So like I think she's a dope artist. She's doing cool shit. I just dropped that in the chat if you want to pull up her recent elf.
Oh, don't dox me.
Elf tech. There you go. Check that out.
So is this like a total collection, or?
Well, this is just a feature. I don't actually know if there's a collection with it or what, but this was like the new Cyber magazine, and she's featured on the cover, and her whole thing is about elf tech.
Is this an AI generated photo, or?
Probably, or it's obviously it's not real.
Yeah,
clearly.
I'm just wondering if somebody could make this without AI.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But it's made. It's it's not like a photo of her.
It's AI for sure.
Probably. But yeah, elf tech from Grimes. There you go. She's going in this really futuristic, innovative direction, and I applaud that. I like that she's keeping herself interesting and relevant and doing different things and actually driving art and music forward in a way here, and it may be a big way. This could actually be a really meaningful move that she's making. But again, she's able to do it because she has no label, she has no legal bindings, And she's in a unique place where it makes sense for her brand and what she's doing. And she also, let's be honest, she's got a kid with Elon Musk. Her finances are okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that is what it is.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, not every artist can be like, hey, just go rip off all my shit and I don't care. So she's in a very unique position.
So apparently Crypto Stash had a part in a Grimes drop, or like collected a Grimes drop, and said his biggest loss ever was in that Grimes drop. Did Grimes have an NFT drop?
She was one of the early, she was one of the early, I think it was when she was still with Elon, actually. She was one of the early music artists to experiment with big NFT drops. And most of those early big hyped up Web2 celebrity drops were all trash, or they did not return anything for users. That's why she's one of the reasons why we've been so critical over the last year or two of celebrities and brands, Web2 brands coming into the space, because it's usually very extractive. It usually doesn't do well. It usually doesn't create a lot of value for the collectors. And yeah, I don't think her NFT drop did very well. And
so Justin Casey's saying Grimes is on the pivot. I think I completely agree with that. Look, we should be able to call people that pivot from NFTs to AI. We should be able to call that making a Ryan Carson. Can we call that Carsoning?
ooh,
Can we call that a Carson? Just saying. Just look. We've got offboarding, we've got complexity chasms, and now I want Carsoning.
Or it could be dosing, daily dosing.
You can be dosing.
Dosing, Carsoning, doing a Carson. So it's like doing a U-turn.
Pulling a Carson. It's a verb.
Got to whip a Carson around. Over here.
We got it. Yes, I think we're gonna lock in on that. We'll see if it catches on. We'll make fetch a thing here. Squash is saying she had a big one early on. Yep, one of the big successes.
I think actually you could, like, the Web3 NFT to AI is like the specific example here, but I think this term can have more utility for anybody that's just like jumping from like what is the latest hot trend where the money's going, like where's the VC. It's just basically it's just dick riding the VCs. That's what Carsoning is. Like whipping a Carson is just jumping out of one Carson. Pulling a Carson, whipping a Carson. It's just jumping from one hot trend with a lot of VC money to the next one.
I love that.
That's what that is. And right now AI is where people are
Okay, so moving. Squash is saying Grimes made $6 million on her drop apparently back in early 2021. And apparently she's whipping a Carson right now. So we're going to be following Grimes. Otherwise, we have to go to another successful project here in the NFT space. I want to cover this. Azuki is heading to Vegas. They dropped some information on Twitter saying, here is the Follow the Rabbit event. It's in Hakkasan. This is a great club, by the way. Me and Mike Finch have had one or two times here in Hakkasan in Las Vegas.
Tell me about that.
It's great. Bachelor parties are a fun time. I'm just gonna leave it there.
No.
Hakkasan's
tell a story.
It's a
tell a
Vegas
story.
Club.
Cute.
Okay. It's a Vegas club. All right, I'll leave it there. Hakkasan, Las Vegas, June 23rd, 2023, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. The dress code is apparently dope shit only, so unfortunately Gift Dad can't go. And it's open to all. Event registration is now open. More details below. I'm just giving you a hard time there, Gift.
That's the dumbest shit I didn't read that, but honestly, bro.
Yeah, dope shit only. That's kind of...
Dope shit only. Dress code. Dope shit only, bro.
That's a little much. Secured. Okay, so this actually came up on the GM Web3 morning show. Secure tickets to Azuki's Follow the Rabbit event by registering between now and 4/24 at 2 p.m. Pacific. Registration is open to all with priority given to Azuki holders. You must be 21 plus to attend. Now, the specific event or process that we were kind of breaking down was the fact that they're making people pay to RSVP, even the holders, even Azuki holders, some of which have paid like 15 G's to hold an Azuki, or even more than that. It's like 30 G's.
30 G's, bro.
15 ETH, my understanding. And now you're going to have to RSVP for this event. They will give you your money back once you show up at the club, I guess, but they don't want people to RSVP that aren't going to go. So that's the situation. Gifted, let me know what you think about the announcement. Other than dope shit only, is this good for Azuki? And then the process of registering via that $100?
The process of registering for $100 is really interesting because what we were reading about this morning that I didn't know is actually it's refundable if you actually show up. So this is where the conversation
for non-holders.
RSVPing versus it's not for people like if you have an NFT, you're good. You don't have to pay $100 or do anything to RSVP. But I think it's really smart because so many people have basically been treating RSVPs like allow lists, and they don't show up. It makes it incredibly hard to gauge how many people are going to come to your event. You often a bunch of people will RSVP and then not even show up. That's not what an RSVP is supposed to be like. I am coming, but people don't respect them right now. So what they're saying is like, look, it's like a nice restaurant. If you RSVP and take up a spot, and we anticipate that you're coming because you said you were, and then you don't, like, we're going to charge your credit card. So that's what this is. So they're going to refund the $100 for people that actually show up. But you gotta put, like hold your RSVP for $100. I actually think that that's a healthy, smart thing. And the fact that you get it back is cool. I think at a higher level that this is great for the space in general to have these really, really high quality blue chip projects doing their own high quality events. I hope it's good quality. I think that them saying dress code is dope shit only is kind of fucking lame, but like hopefully that's not the that's not the theme of the whole event. Hopefully it's not like that, but it is in Vegas at Hakkasan, so it might be kind of ratchet. I don't know. I hope it's good quality though. Like I love that Ape Fest has their thing that they're doing really well. I think that exclusive high quality experiences should be one of the key use cases. We're talking about what are the use cases of NFTs right now. Access to exclusive experiences is one of those key utilities, just like culture is. That's a big part of culture. And IP, distributed IP, right? So I'm bullish on big projects trying to create next level Web3 events for their communities, and I hope it goes well.
Love it. All right, we are going to jump into the NFT Go Bag Check today. NFT Go is the sponsor on this month's editions of NFT Live. We love using their platform to gain insights on the space, analytics, floor prices, all that stuff. We are going to jump into NFT Go right now, actually, and go over what the market is showing us this week. So big shout out again to NFT Go and the team over there. Let's get into it. So this is the market overview. Market sentiment is at 30. So Gifted's tweets have been cooling off as of late.
I feel like we've been hovering like just above 30 for a while. Yeah. I feel like right now it's
lower.
We're down bad. We're down bad. I feel like it should be at like 15 or 10 right now.
You know what? The 30-day profit and loss probably gives you a more accurate take of like where the market is. But I could see market sentiment shifting because people are emotional even in a bear market.
But like, what does it take to get below 10 on this market sentiment? Because I feel like the sentiment is so bad right now. I feel like the sentiment is so bad. I don't want to know what it takes to get below 10. That shit would break probably.
Anyways. We are coming into the month of May. Maybe this will heat up a little bit. We'll see. Blue chip index last 7 days across ETH. We stabilized a little bit. ETH went down in price. That definitely helped. Right around April 21st, we saw ETH go down to like I believe 1750, 1800. I don't know where we sit exactly right now, but that's going to help against ETH. If you zoom into USD. Or toggle USD, we're kind of down on the week at least there. If we zoom out to 30 days, we're probably down a significant amount there, kind of chilling out over the last day. So that's going to be the blue chip index. Market cap and volume over the last 7 days has gone down on that as well against ETH. If we zoom out or change the toggle to USD, we're down there as well. So that's what you've been feeling. If you're thinking like, hey, what's the sentiment in NFTs and why does it feel that way? Well, this chart does a great job because in the last 7 to 10 days, the market cap has fallen off a cliff against USD. The market cap has fallen off a cliff against ETH. And so that's where, the feeling of what the hell is going on in NFTs, that's going to be hyper felt right now based on that chart. If we zoom down to the collection distribution over the last 7 days, according to volume. Bored Ape Yacht Club taking up 15%, Mutants at 13, Azuki at 10, Wrapped CryptoPunks, Beans, Miladies, the Captains, Moonbirds, Nakamigos, and DeGods coming in at that 10th place spot. And then over the last 24 hours, Mutants taking the top spot with about 2,200 ETH. Azuki's next, Bored Ape Yacht Club's Wrapped CryptoPunks, Miladies, Beans, Captains, Pepe Pee Pee, which I will not be pulling up on the screen, and Nakamigos and DeGods. So that is going to be there. We have been covering the Genesis drop with OpenSea Pro. We can take a quick look at the marketplaces. You got any Pepe Pee Pee?
You know what I was about to say? Guess what was trending number 1 on OpenSea today? Pepe Pee Pee Poo Poo. Pepe Pee Poo.
You know that picture, that evolution picture, where it's like you from monkeys
it's
to
reverse.
humans. It's like you turn into babies. We're like, we're at like the fucking 10 IQ stage of. We had feet pics. We had like all this different shit, and now we're sitting at fucking Pepe Poo Poo Pee Pee.
Yeah, it's like you have the evolutionary curve, and then you have the degenerational curve, right? It's inverse evolution. We are degenerating in real time in this space. Oh God,
I love it here. I really do. Last 7 days on the volume side, Blur is taking up the top spot. Let's get that. Let's get X2Y2 out of it. Looks Rare doing okay. Looks Rare had their like version 2 drop. I feel like that kind of fell a little bit on deaf ears, but it looks like it's doing more than Blur Aggregator and X2Y2 and OpenSea Pro on the volume side. Of course, that's being heavily incentivized. Blur taking up the top spot on the volume side. Let's try sales. So OpenSea there. So if we switch to sales, and then also on the trader side, OpenSea is going to be doing more sales, almost half or twice the rate than Blur. OpenSea Pro coming in above Blur Aggregator. And then on the trader side, let's zoom out to the last 7 days. OpenSea, Blur, OpenSea Pro, and Blur Aggregator. Looks Rare has 230 traders and is somehow, and this gives you a really good indicator of what the hell is going on, is over OpenSea Pro, which is sitting at 10x, 20x, whatever the user base is. So you can kind of get the gist there about what's happening on the volume side on Looks Rare. And that concludes the NFT Go Bag Check. Love you guys.
That's an interesting stat you just pulled there off of NFT Go. This space, man.
I heard a rumor the PPP.
the Pepe Pee Pee. Okay, I'll say it since Q is incapable of being an adult right now. Choina saying, I heard a rumor that Pepe Pee Pee devs messed up the contract so the art can't reveal. If that's true, like, how's that even possible? You got to be so bad. You got to be so bad at your job. You've got one job on an NFT project. Anyway.
Do you have a tough time with your Pepe Pee Pee reveal gift? Okay.
It's Monday. All right. We will not be back tomorrow. This is a good time for us to say we're taking a break because Consensus Austin is happening. We have an event Wednesday, 2 days out from Web3 Lounge ATX happening at Highbrow Lowbrow in Austin. It's going to be sick. It's going to be, whoa, Marty McFly popping in here. Let's go.
What's true? What is true?
Marty McFly's catching up. He's probably way back there at the beginning of the show if he's hopping in now.
He's not a Pepe Pee Pee just yet.
Oh, okay. Maybe he's talking about the contract being fucked up. All right. Well, there you go. Thanks for pulling that up. Web3 Lounge, Highbrow, Lowbrow at ATX. If you're going to be in Consensus or know anybody in Austin, let them know. Link is in the chat, fam. RSVP now. Do not miss out. Do not miss out.
650 RSVPs now. I don't even know what the actual limit on Highbrow, Lowbrow is, but we're getting up there. Of course, we just talked about
Luma. That's just on Luma because we have an Eventbrite with some RSVPs too.
People love dogs. There's gonna be a Yappy Hour with the Doge Pound NFT project there, so we're excited for this, of course. And Marty McFly saying, yeah, no reveal yet. So the Pepe Pee Pees have not been.
What if that was like? What if that was their gimmick? What if they were basically like, hey, you know what? What people would totally buy is art that never fucking reveals, and we'll say it's an accident, and people will love that shit, and then people are actually buying it.
All right, let's get into the art here. So they're Pepe Pee Pees with a range of phallic situations here, as we call it. I don't want to get banned off YouTube, but it's Pepe's with erections, is what we're doing.
See, I didn't even know because I didn't even try and look at it.
You didn't see the Pepe Pee Pee? So you got the average size Pepe Pee Pee there, but if you look, there's other Pepe Pee Pees with bigger Pee Pees, and some have really small Pee Pees. I wonder if the rare trait is a large Pepe Pee Pee or in a small Pepe Pee Pee, and then the
micro Pee Pee.
Yeah,
dude, is the micro Pee Pee like actually the rarest trait? That would be amazing.
If they do that, I will get a Pepe Pee Pee. I will tell you that. If they make the micro Pepe Pee Pee the rare Pee Pee, then I will buy into.
And then at the other side of the spectrum of Pee Pees is the full butyrin, just the full on butyrin. Just get the big old butte.
You can see it here. Look at this. Look at this.
The micro Pee Pee.
The micro Pee Pee's here, and then the butyrin's right next to it.
Dude, that's a nice contrast right there.
It is.
You want to see the juxtaposition between the water bottle butyrin Pee Pee versus the micro.
So what you're telling me?
Why are we giving this so much airtime right now, bro? What the fuck? God damn it!
Wow.
God damn it!
Let's go to OpenSea. Let's see. So yeah, they haven't revealed yet.
Oh my god!
Great job. It's just a phenomenal job by whoever. Just really good artistic expression here.
It's amazing.
Gonna be awesome. Thank you, Pepe Pee Pee, for this specific thing. On another level, although not doing as much volume as Pepe Pee Pee, we have Nike competing for the top spot with Pepe Pee Pee launching their Artifact Nike Air Force Ones, forging Season 1. Unfortunately, this isn't at the top spot, as we just told you. Pepe's with small Pepe Pee Pees have taken over the top spot. But what is going on here with Forge Season 1, Gifted?
I can't, bro. I can't. Oh my god.
Think about all the time and work that Artifact and Nike put into this to be overtaken by this.
The art of the troll.
God.
It's so good.
It's so good. It's why I'm here.
This is why we're here.
It's really why I'm here. It's really why I'm here. I'm excited.
Bro.
All right, Trent is saying we're all going to hell and deserve it. Well, certainly the people that are behind this project are doing that.
Unless I can buy these Nike Season 1 unique artist shoes with my Pepe coin, I don't want it. Don't want it. Sorry.
Look, I'm on board with you there. These actually have an audio component. It's pretty cool. They don't have a small PP, but they have good audio, and it's an Air Force One.
I don't know. I feel like anybody that wears this, you can assume has a small PB. So
it's fair. I used to rock Air Force Ones. It was a part of my life. It was a stage, if you will. Oh, you're muted.
There's like a shiny Gator one that's pretty cool. Then there's the Murakami ones. The Murakamis were at like they're at like a 5e floor. I can't be serious right now.
Hey, this is actually a really cool. This is like a really cool animation. This was, I think, in Times Square. No, this isn't in Times Square. This is in Japan. It's maybe in Japan. Let me pull this up. On a serious note, I actually think this is a dope little animation. That can't be how loud it is on like the street, right? Feels like a amusement park ride. That was pretty sick. We're talking about the Asian market too.
That's amazing. And yet it's being shown up right now by Pepe Pee Pee. I mean, this space is epic. It's just epic. And yeah, I mean, the comment that investing in crypto is literally just investing in mental illness. It feels right now. Yeah, it really does. Anyway, where do we go from there, man? I mean,
I honestly, we've been hosting these shows for years, and I have no idea. This is the first time.
I know. I feel like actually, like, this is the first time that my mind just sort of like broke, like full on. I think my mind just broke.
Okay, some of these are, yeah, this is bad. This is actually, yeah.
No. Oh, dude, that's awful. Yeah, that's really bad.
Yeah, that's really, really, really bad. Yeah. Okay. All right. This is what we got going on. We just got out of the NFT Go Bag Check. We'll follow the Pepe Pee Pee nonsense. But we do have a MetaMask airdrop to get to. That is going to be the story of the day. This is essentially what users were greeted with when searching for the MASK token, which started to trend, I think, a little bit on CoinMarketCap. If you're listening to us on Spotify, this is what it says. This page is a placeholder for the eventual MetaMask token, which Consensus CEO Joe Lubin and Jacob C., then MetaMask Ops lead and current advisor, have confirmed. There are no further details at the moment. Beware of fake MetaMask phishing sites and check official MetaMask resources for further updates. They also have a post. I don't know if it's copy pasta or these guys like just wrote this up here on CoinMarketCap, but it's basically just laying out what the MASK token might be, when it might be released, and at the same time, we're hearing a lot from one. Chaz Gold was on the GM Web3 morning show saying, hey, there might not be a MetaMask token, which I tend to agree with, but this is in direct competition with what they're saying on CoinMarketCap. So that's where we stand today. MetaMask token, does it exist? Will it exist? We can dive deep. Gift Ed, MetaMask token, yes, yay or nay?
Oh, like I want it to happen, but like that doesn't mean it will. I think that it's confusing here because again, like I was asking you, like what's the actual process to get listed on CoinMarketCap, and you're saying it's basically just like an application. But to me,
yes,
that would mean therefore that they would have had to file an application.
So, I mean, there are going to be outliers, right? Like the majority of projects can go through that process, but if they are like, hey, we want to get in front of this, maybe it gets us some marketing. We showed CoinMarketCap for the first fucking time on the show in a while, so.
Well, that's interesting on its face too, because like, if this is just a marketing stunt by CoinMarketCap, like that feels weird. You know what I mean? Like, is that their business now to just like hype up non-existent tokens? That would make me feel very differently about what CoinMarketCap's doing.
Yeah. I mean, the language they use, this page is a placeholder for the eventual MetaMask token, which Joe Lubin has confirmed.
Yeah, that like sounds very clear.
Yes, and I'll go into it. So on March 16, 2022, so this was not even this year, it was last year, co-founder of Consensus told Decrypt that MetaMask planned to undergo progressive decentralization and introduce a token in the future. Yeah, this
here's the other interesting thing about this time. But there's so much, like the other interesting thing about this timeline is that you say Okay, so this was a year ago that they made this initial announcement that you like, that's the thing on the record that you can point to. Why now? Why is this popping up now, a year later after that announcement? Because you could have done this then. You could have said like, hey, cool, they announced that a thing might be coming. Let's go ahead and put up a placeholder anytime in the last year. So that's why it's like, as much as this is just speculation and there may not be any merit to it ever existing, it feels like there must have been some kind of conversation or application or something that happened in the back end to trigger this to be listed as a placeholder. I don't know. Again, maybe you're right. Maybe CoinMarketCap is just doing some kind of weird marketing move here, or just like totally speculating and putting placeholders out. And maybe that's part of what they do now.
Trony's saying it's a mass placeholder for PPP token, which there's a non-zero chance that could be true. You don't know. I'm looking at Twitter here. There hasn't been an official. The only official announcement we got from MetaMask token was that they said no token. I don't know if you remember this. There was like an initial burst like 2 or 3 weeks ago where people like, hey, like what the heck's going on?
And they did. They said no token at that time.
Exactly. And so here's a post from another Twitter profile that's saying, sorry to cut your hopium out, guys. A Consensus and MetaMask team member just debunked the mass token listing and airdrop rumor. No, this is not authentic. So Spence Coin here, apparently from MetaMask, saying no idea who allowed this page to exist on CoinMarketCap. So diving a little bit deep, and I think we both had this assumption right off the bat, or at least I don't know. From my perspective, mass token was not going to happen anytime soon, based on their initial talks and the current regulatory environment. We just saw the SEC get taken to task, but the regulatory environment's still bad, still really, really bad. To the point where it's crazy that Ape was actually able to be taken off. Like actually lifting off the Ape coin was interesting in that they didn't delay it or anything like that. The fact that the largest, most notorious brand in NFT said, fuck it, we're going to fly in the face of the current regulation and launch a ERC20 or a fungible token. It's kind of wild the more I think about it. Because masks, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, it is really wild, but also like I think what that speaks to is how much Yuga understands their role in the space is to be out in front setting standards. And so like they have the resources that they can say, we're going to do what we want to do and treat the legal battles that come with that, not only as cost of business, but important for our success long-term. Right?
Yes.
That's like, and that's, again, this is, I keep saying this and like, I'll say it again. I don't want to be a broken record, but I don't know if like a lot of people actually understand how important Yuga being successful with these types of lawsuits is, because this shit is precedent setting. There are not a lot of precedents. They don't exist. This is the Wild West. It's a new territory. We need the Coinbases and the Yugas and the people that have the resources to be fighting legal battles on behalf of Web3 to be succeeding. So whether or not you fuck with Bored Apes, whether or not you have an ape, like you should want staking to succeed. You should want them to go to bat and fight legal battles and do well. You should honestly, again, I think you should be happy that Yuga's doing well in this Ryder Ripps case, because what's the alternative? Like, let's think through this thought experiment wise. If like the Yuga versus Ryder Ripps case was going the opposite direction, what would that mean? If the biggest, like, if the company that is literally responsible for like 50% of the entire NFT space right now is basically getting like demolished by a troll that is just like stealing their IP, their trademarks, what would that do for the space? Every other business that was like trying to come in and build would basically be like, fuck this. I can't protect a trademark. I can't do anything about somebody like infringing and creating, basically malicious projects to like, profit off of us and breaking the rules that we set out and using our trademarks in bad faith ways while also defaming us and like, you know what I mean? It's just like, if this was going the other way, what would that do from a business perspective to the entire Web3 space? If there was just zero accountability or protections for businesses and brands to be operating here.
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly we wouldn't see the likes of Nike and a lot of these other big brands move in as quickly. I think that they generally believe that they have the money to, and now there's a couple of lawsuits that have, you know, been actually successful, this being one of them. So
yeah, I just think, you know, anyway, all right, I said the piece. I don't need to beat it to death.
I was looking at NFT statistics, talking about Ryder Ripps there, but he also had some other, you know, key insights when he was talking about unique buyers and some other pieces regarding volume. But yeah, man, I completely agree with your take. Like being able to at least have, especially I think in the Ryder Ripps case where he was so flamboyant with his attacks, the ability to not just say, hey, this is just a complete wild west. No one's going to build in an area like that. The key part I think is kind of maintaining some autonomy and some portion of laissez-faire without having it be like we need to go to a lawyer for everything that we're fucking doing in this space. It's hopefully some of it is a new paradigm and we can remove those third parties. How we do that, I don't know, but again, I think I'm in agreement with you for the most part.
Well, it's exactly what you just said, and that's that the alternative is complete anarchy, and nobody wants to try and build there because there's like if you can basically depend on the fact that as a big brand entering the space, you're going to be attacked by a bunch of trolls and that they can do whatever the fuck that they want to you and your brand and your products. Why would you want to put any time or energy into the space?
Look at Rachel Rose here. See you soon at Consensus 2023. I'll be speaking at Web3 Lounges Opolis with some epic people and projects, including, and goes on to list a bunch of different projects, including Shapeshift, Avagachi, Nifty Kit, and a bunch of other folks. So big shout out to Rachel here for the love, and we can't wait to have you. That's going to be an awesome time, man.
It's a beautiful thing. Love to see that.
It's a beautiful thing. All right, so the consensus here is that there's not going to be a MetaMask token in the near future. My other take here is MetaMask is the most used project in existence. I just really don't see that airdrop, that stimmy being of any substance for people who are trading less than 100K, maybe. You know, like there are a lot of people with that, like whales in the space that have used MetaMask for a long time. I just don't see it. Maybe they could cap a certain amount so that everyone's kind of that it's a little bit more equitable. But I think for the most part, I look at MetaMask as this widely used product that how much capital can they actually distribute where you're seeing like, you know, 5 figures or a little bit high 5 figures. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think if you're trying to think of like we were trying to do this like thought experiment, I think I asked a question on GM-Web3 to our panel this morning of like if you were trying to do the best version of an airdrop, the most equitable way, you know, that didn't encourage a bunch of farming and like shitty behavior, but like felt good. Like, how would you actually execute on an airdrop that you thought was the best way to do it? And, you know, part of what we were talking about was like the way that ENS did it, which part of that was like, part of it was volume. Part of it was also rewarding longevity, like how long you were holding. So there was a time-based element to that. And so to me, it's like if I think about like the ideal airdrop for a MetaMask, from my perspective, it would be very similar to that. It would be based upon your activity and like the volume of your activity in some way, but that wouldn't be all of it. Because again, then you're just encouraging farming. A lot of it would be about loyalty or people that have been in the space that have, you know, been holding or using your wallet for a long time. You know, and I think to your point, instituting some kinds of like caps or something like that so that it is more equitable and it's not just like, hey, the top 5% get it all and then fuck the rest of y'all. I think that's smart too. And that's the same way that like DAOs should be doing what they should cap their influence at like 4% or something like that in the vote, right?
The I don't want to get too existential and too philosophical here, but the Sun Tzu Art of War, one of the main quotes from that is, you know, all warfare is based on deception. And I think most airdrops that have been really, really successful use that element of deception. They don't announce the airdrop before they do it. That is the number one thing for a successful airdrop, is not having the people coming just for the airdrop.
And which is, so you just put words to something that I've been like subconsciously thinking about this whole time, is that like, maybe it makes sense for them to not be like announcing it right now and saying like, oh no, there's not going to be a token. There's not, you know what I mean? Like maybe there's an actual reason why they don't want to put it out there right now that there's going to be a token drop, because it changes the dynamics. It changes behavior. So yeah, like just as much as there could easily not be a mask token, there's also a lot of reasons why it could totally happen too. So I don't know. I'm trying to, maybe
we don't know.
we have no idea really, if we're being honest. Maybe I'm just trying to hold on to a little bit of hopium here.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be a solid stimmy for some people if it does happen, but yeah, I'm interested to see what the requirements are. But the ones that I've seen, I mean, you're trying to remove people farming it, then you can't tell people you're going to do it, because then they're just going to farm it, you know? So I agree with your point there. So, all right, MetaMask token, we will see. I would love to get a list of best airdrops. I think that would kind of hone in on maybe some of the best qualities. It's like, okay, well, you have ENS. Uniswap was a good one.
Rate My Bags airdrop edition.
What would have been the best airdrops? I want to do that now, but we're not going to do it. But I'm super stoked on that idea of like what have been the best airdrops. I'm trying to really rack my brain. I'll probably think about it for like the next hour after we press end stream on today's NFT Live. We're about to do so in just a second. Thank you guys for joining us here to start your week. Again, I don't know what the episodes will look like, but likely not a ton this week as Web3 is traveling. Gifted, it's been a phenomenal episode here. Any last topics or things that you want to hit on before we get out of here? I feel like the Moonbirds have had some good stuff that we need to talk about, but maybe we can do that another day and maybe have Biggie in here for the good stuff. Oh, ape, fuck.
Yeah, I mean, Diamond Exhibition, I think that's the Moonbirds update, is that is going live now, so like people can choose the artist, or I believe the way that works is you can actually rank the artist that you want, and then it's probably some kind of like auction or raffle to determine, because everybody's going to want a Beeple. Like Beeple's, there's only 100 editions of the Beeple. That's going to be the first one that everybody wants. So how are they handling that? It's like some kind of like ranking your top choices, and then they'll try and, get it to people. ApeCoin giveaway. Oh shit!
This was going to be the winner, and coincidentally, it's about ape is the community topic today. So we like to get one topic from the community each day that we can kind of really hone in on. We did touch on a topic earlier that Justin was hitting on, which was the Layer 0 drop that's happening, or kind of sale that's happening. But this one, I think we'll choose here as the official winner. In addition to my ape question, which I believe was about things you can do. Let me see. In addition to my ape question, are there any other ways to benefit from holding ape? Let's see if we can get to that original question. I'm really bullish on ape. I could use a bit of education now that I'm holding on to some. So again, kind of a broad look at where ape is today. I can bring up the staking piece as well. Obviously, that has been something that has been the major utility for ape for a little while now, but there was the Gucci drop recently. The codependents were in ApeCoin, so I believe it was 450, whatever that amounts to, was the actual codependents that I can show off here. But Gif, if you've got any others to talk about right now, let's hit it before we drop out of here.
I can pull this up since Prodigy? Is it Prodigy? Oh no, Squashman sharing these Starbucks reward or some of these initial benefits that you can choose that are happening. So
sir, we're on ApeCoin, sir.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Tell us about Starbucks really quick now.
Yeah, I haven't eaten enough food today, so at this point my blood sugar level in my brain is breaking.
No worries.
So okay, I wanted to hit this because Squashman's saying apparently these are about to go live. So these are the first ever benefits that you can choose with your points that you earn on Starbucks Odyssey. So there's different levels Level 1, virtual coffee class. Starbucks coffee passport. Get your very own tasting guide. Starbucks coffee. Feeding America donation. You can help provide 50 meals to neighbors facing hunger. That's cool. Level 2, name a coffee tree. Virtual tasting and coffee. Starbucks cold cup. Sip your favorite drink. Level 3, customized MIIR 360 traveler. I don't know what that means. Showcase a stamp of your choice printed on an insulated, I guess that's like some kind of traveling mug. I don't know. That's cool. So you get a custom mug. 30 days of free drinks. Yo, that's pretty lit. Starbucks Reserve experience. Unlock an experience for you and a guest at one of our Starbucks Reserve stores. Okay. I actually went to my first Starbucks Reserve in Toronto. So they have their like high-end locations are called Starbucks Reserve. So I guess they do special things there at those locations. So there you go.
Dude, to whoever's advising again on this project, you guys are doing awesome. Just like a really cool thing that Starbucks is doing. This could have easily been shit. This whole Starbucks Odyssey rollout could have been dog shit. That's what we've seen from a lot of really out of touch brands. It is like, what the fuck is Porsche doing? Get me on the line with what Porsche is doing with their NFTs right now, because there's no way it could be as cool as what Starbucks is doing.
Yeah, Senki is like, who cares about
ApeCoin,
Starbucks? ApeCoin.
Okay, so
Jesus.
So here's something that you could do immediately. Again, nothing that we're saying right now, especially about ApeCoin, but definitely throughout the entire episode, can be taken as financial advice. Do what the hell you want to do. We are not financial advisors. NFA, okay? This is something you could do right now if you hold ApeCoin. So Ledger has had an activation with ApeCoin holders for a little while in BAYC. Do you hold ApeCoin? Question mark. Almost 800 Ape holders have completed our Ledger and ApeCoin quest so far. If you hold Ape, you have until May 3rd to ace the quest, earn a proof POK token. It's probably like proof of knowledge NFT, and get the chance to receive an ApeCoin custom nano. Let me make sure this is the actual Ledger. I always get caught up. Yes, that's the actual Ledger. So I'm going to drop this tweet. Be very careful about ApeCoin, because the whole thing with staking and everything around Ape is that people use various tactics to make your wallet vulnerable, essentially. Like signing a transaction that can remove all your Ape, all this stuff. But this looks like a legitimate use case here for ApeCoin. So that's dope. There's a couple other things I can bring up. Ape staking APYs right now. So again, not financial advice, but the Ape pool, 60% APY is still, if you look at other yield products, is still very strong here. And it's gone up over time, obviously. But if you do own ApeCoin, there is an opportunity right now, if you're not in the US, to be staking Ape. Again, that's not financial
just
advice.
That's just for having the Ape. You don't have to have NFTs or pair it in
Exactly.
any way.
Yeah, exactly. If you do want to pair that, that's the other utility there. You could pair it with Bored Ape Kennel Club, with a mutant or a BAYC, or just the BAYC, or just the mutant. So those are a couple different utilities. I think what you're doing with Ape right now is getting exposure to the Bored Ape ecosystem, to the Yuga Labs ecosystem at a smaller clip, right? Like, you don't have to buy, what's the cheapest Yuga asset right now? Probably like a heavy metal, even maybe those vessels. So, over the past month or two, there have been other collections that have propped up or popped up that you can get exposure at a lower price point. So 2 months ago, you weren't able to. It was like, hey, you either buy the other deed, which I would not suggest buying other deed. I mean, you could, but like the token supply and the mechanics of the game, there's a lot that goes into other deeds, in my opinion. And like buying something at that price with 100,000 supply on the floor, I think you're more apt to buy maybe a heavy metal or one of these other things that are set to be revealed, pieces like that. But anyways, you could buy 5 cents at ApeCoin right now, get exposure. That's the point. And I'll end with this GIF, unless I want to get your takes on Ape as well. Like, I don't want to ask, would you buy Ape? But again, at $4, at $3.98, I think it's in an okay price range. It's going to have a great narrative if the NFT scene ever does come back, which we're here, we believe it will. It's going to have a really great narrative with the other side. It's going to be used heavily in the other side. That's like the primary narrative. But buying an asset and not staking it right now is tough, because essentially the supply is continuously increasing with holders that are getting more. Some of them are selling ape. So that's just, in my opinion, a downward move there from the staking aspect. But all to say, and I know I kind of was word salad there and was all over the place with ape, but that's kind of what I'm thinking about. I don't know if I would outright buy ape at this point. I think I might, but I think that there are probably better assets, a heavy metal, for example, or some others that have the ability to like 2 or 3x before ApeCoin sees, $16.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, like, generally with everything that you're saying. I do think that just having some ape, if you can get some, is a good play. Because I think, to your point, it is like exposure to the success of the Yuga ecosystem at relatively affordable. Like, you don't have to put a lot into it. You can scale it however you want. However much you want to put into it is how much you can put into it. And I do think that it's going to do well, because regardless of like what you think or what you want, or the potential utility and use cases of some of these different chains, like, they already have more utility and more use cases for this coin, and the potential for so much more than most other tokens, right? You go and you look at some of the top 20, top 30, top 50 tokens on CoinMarketCap, and you're like, what is the thing that makes this valuable? Like, what's the use case here for a lot of these? And I don't know. Like, honestly, like even something like a Cardano. Like, I know Cardano is the like academic coin, and it can handle smart contracts. It can do a lot, but like, is there a single IP or project or use case or application that is like heavily interested, like has a ton of users, has the kind of clout of a Bored Ape, and has all the additional like things coming with other side and the other projects associated with you? You know what I mean? Like CryptoPunks, even like. So I don't know. It's like you can go down that list of the top 50 coins and try and unpack, like, what's the thing here that makes this sticky and valuable and gives it a legit use case that people are going to actually use. ApeCoin has a much stronger, play already than the majority of those coins. That's how I feel about it. So it's like, and full transparency, I have a bag of ApeCoin right now because I'm staking. So it's like, I'm already getting a ton of value out of holding it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just hard for me to not see how, given the amount of resources, the way that they've been building and executing, and the value that's already tied to this coin, how it doesn't do well in the future. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean it doesn't go down in the short term. Doesn't mean it doesn't do well. But and also NFA, not financial advice. I'm pretty bullish on ApeCoin.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of power players that are associated with ApeCoin, right? We've talked about Animoca Brands and their tie to the ecosystem, how they're involved in the ApeCoin DAO. I think
it actually has a successful DAO.
Yeah,
that's important.
Yeah, which is my next point, was going to be, if you look in a time of the bear market where we're sitting right now, what we often mention is, who are the projects that have successful DAOs? And ApeCoin is definitely one of those. So they have a working group. I can send you guys the invite link for the ApeCoin working group as well. Like, I don't know if you need to have ApeCoin to join, or you need an NFT. You definitely don't need an NFT, because ApeCoin is part of the utility of it is, hey, you can join an ApeCoin working group because you own even 1 cent of ApeCoin, right? Like, that's the idea. So I think, in general, my thought process here is like, if you're betting on ApeCoin, you're betting on the fact that the NFT market will come back strong and the PFP market will go, or maybe you're betting heavily on gaming as well, but you're definitely betting on the fact that we're going to see another NFT bull run. that like you're heavily invested there, because you could put your token somewhere else, or your cash somewhere else, like a Polygon, who has hedges against that, right? If the NFT scene doesn't really pop off, they have DeFi, and they have a whole bunch of different sectors within a layer 1 or layer 2 blockchain. If you're betting on ApeCoin, you're heavily betting on the NFT scene. So,
but does, like, yes and no. Like I think that a big part of it like will do better with an NFT bull run. So I agree that there's a correlation there. But I think that they, like, part of the whole move, we were discussing like, how we thought it was kind of crazy that they would go so hard into gaming. Don't you think that they understand that they've got to diversify revenue and not just be an NFT? Like they're not going to do something stupid and alienate their base users by saying we're not an NFT company anymore. They're not going to fucking pull a poopy or a pee-pee or whatever the fuck. They're not going to do that, but they are actively building out and differentiating their revenue streams and developing something much bigger, a global brand that is also a fucking a game, Web3 game. So it's like, Gucci, I don't know. Again. Yeah, Gucci, all this stuff. So it's like, I don't know that necessarily like ApeCoin requires another massive NFT run for ApeCoin to be successful if it's being integrated into all these other applications that people just use.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, and here's Marty McFly is making a good point. He says, I don't think there will be an NFT bull run again ever. That's just me, though. Can't imagine the situation since it's not novel anymore. This is what I've been saying the last 2 weeks when we've been hit with a lot of like sentiment of people like, holy shit, look at the volume, look at where we're at. We didn't know what the case was after the ICO phase dies. Like literally, there was this huge run up. Bitcoin went to 20K, ETH went to like 2K, 1200. We were like, holy shit. And then everything, the bottom fell out of everything. ICOs died overnight. The ETH went down to, I think, $80. Bitcoin went down to like 1K or something. It was a time where you're like, fuck, what is the next thing? Like, what is this next thing?
Well, the thing that I would say to that, and it's like, look, maybe Marty's right. I am not a soothsayer. I cannot see the future, unfortunately. However, I feel like that sentiment is absolutely like what I see happening with this. Like when I talk about this being the first ever NFT winter, that's what I mean. This hasn't happened before. So people are freaking out and they're flooring everything. Mm-hmm. But you were just talking about the last time a crypto winter occurred, and crypto's been through 4 of these cycles now. So crypto people are handling this better than NFT people right now because they know these cycles come and go. I think NFTs aren't going, like, this is my personal thesis. I don't think NFTs are going anywhere, just like collecting isn't going anywhere, just like art isn't going anywhere, just like the tech, I don't think is just going to disappear. I think it's getting stronger. The use cases are being developed in real time. So to me, this feels very cyclical, and then it's actually attached to the crypto market, which is attached to the macro market, economics, and the stock market and all that shit right now. So that's my thesis. I think it's a matter of time. I think it's hard right now because we are at the bottom of the bottom, and a year and a half or a year and some months into the first ever NFT winter. So that sentiment is totally fair. It feels like that. I guess I think it's more than that though. Like ICOs, like, okay, so again, I love this new quote from Raoul Pal, which is basically culture is a use case. And one of the, like, again, I don't think that we talk enough about the Web3 NFT culture because it's actually really important and differentiates Web3 from Web2 and Web1 and a lot of other technologies and things that have happened. Like when ICOs happened, I mean, you tell me, Q, but I'm assuming when ICOs happened, it was primarily a financial tool and a financial instrument.
What was ICOs?
ICOs, and it had like a movement, and there was people like yourself that were very much deep into that movement, but it didn't have like a bigger culture, like pop culture. It didn't have like this massive, like all these different communities that were like part of, believing and building in ICOs, like it was, their favorite thing in the world. Have you heard of the Link Marines by chance? Do you know what the Link?
No. Link? Okay, Link. There were examples You've heard of them. That's a great example.
No, I haven't heard of it, but so there was a little bit of that, is what you're saying.
Yes, there wasn't like this whole broad sweep of like every community is so vibrant and it has like a lot of things going for it, but there were like hardcore communities around these tokens that were increasing in price so heavily, right? So like there started to be like memes based off the Link token. I'm talking about Chainlink. That was like one of the biggest hitters. So there was like a synthetics project that's still around. A protocol was an ICO as well. EOS was the one that was still around. I mean, there's a lot of projects today that are like doing extremely well beyond where they were in the ICO phase. Like that's the thing. It always does come back, and that's the thesis. So like if you look at this chart, you could go farther back probably, or at least a little bit back, but 2018 was here, right? So you have this like massive like blow off the top from what it was previously, and when it died, everyone was like, "Dude, what's gonna bring people back in here?" Like,
yeah,
it
took a while.
It
took a while, right? It takes some time. So I think to Marty's point, like I don't think a bull run is around the corner. Certainly not. I think it might actually be even another year or two out at this point. The way that things are going right now, it might be a couple more years, and that's a scary thought to me, honestly. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't come back. But he's asking, would love your opinion on a situation that creates another bull run. So much of it is tied to liquidity, the technology,
macro markets,
new use cases. Yeah, so the macros create liquidity. And then new use cases create new projects, new applications, new interesting things. And that innovation spawns a lot more interest, right? So there's the price innovation cycle that A16Z shows, right? So you have to go through this whole cycle where it's like, okay, there's new liquidity, new price, new interest, new innovation. And then eventually that new innovation will drive more price. But once the macros shift, once there's new liquidity, once money's being printed and everybody feels rich, he's saying if ETH is at 4K, no one's buying NFTs.
I disagree with that.
Disagree. Yeah, because people...
The history shows different.
Yeah, exactly. There's history that shows that when these coins are pumping, it goes into more of the other associated assets that are more risky because they're trying to diversify. They feel richer. They can gamble. They can collect the things that they've been wanting. But also, like, a lot of them just don't want to pull it out into USD. They want to keep it in crypto.
Well, so...
like, hey,
so we could go gift that, and we've done this on to back up your point. We can go to CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap and say, hey, let's look at CoinMarketCap in 2014, in 2013, in 2017. And what happened was a rise in, I don't know the macro markets at the time. I wasn't following stocks and equities and all that stuff. But what happened was a rise in Bitcoin and then a rise in smaller altcoins based on that. And so you saw in 2013, 2014, Bitcoin pumps a little bit, and then some project that has a fork of Bitcoin starts to pump. And then there are 10 more, and then all that. And then Ethereum rise was the same thing. You saw Bitcoin go up, Ethereum go up, and then you saw these dragon coins and all of these different tokens that popped off after that initial burst. And that's the thesis that everyone is working on in this space. So you could go ahead and say, oh, that's not going to happen again. But the thing is, it's always happened. So
yeah. And Marty right now is trying to say that what happened was the COVID pandemic and the stimmy from that. And he
Zoom
says
out, brother.
He's saying that will literally never happen again, which first and foremost, if you don't think we're not going to have more global pandemics, like, I disagree with that. But also, like, it was more than just that. All that did was increase some more liquidity and create very, very favorable stock market conditions. But even that is cyclical. Like, whatever the catalysts are that create more liquidity and more exuberance in the market comes back. It doesn't have to be COVID. It could be something else. But you look at market cycles and this shit comes and goes. Right now, the Fed is already getting to a point where they're going to have to probably shift their approach and, turn on the money printers eventually soon.
You know what? Like, yeah, I agree with you, dude. Like, we're on the same wavelength. Like, if we're probably at some type of cycle, like obviously in here, like if you're here on NFT Live right now, you believe that we're somewhere between here and here. Like, if you think that this isn't going to happen, then I don't know what you're doing here. You might as well capitulate, whatever. But we're somewhere within here, and I guarantee, because I was fucking there, and there were a lot of guys. You were, I mean, I don't know when you got onboarded, but in this trough, people were like, "What are they gonna do? Like, what are we gonna do? Or like, if ETH is at 1800, 2000 again, why would you buy a picture of a monkey? Like, these are the same exact thoughts that you have in the trough every fucking time. I swear to God. Like it makes no sense to have that thesis, because it's those same thoughts have been asked multiple times, and we have multiple troughs to say that those are the same questions people were asking in both the previous two troughs.
Yeah, and Squashman is saying here too about just collectibles in general. Like, look at what's happened over the last couple of years with sports cards. You know what I mean? Like, these things have been around forever, but even sports cards go through cycles. Collectibles go through cycles. Things become popular for different reasons. But the provenance on Bored Apes doesn't go away. And actually, they're building a ton of new utilities. So to me, again, the use cases get more interesting over time with something like Bored Apes. Not all collectibles are going to age the same as Bored Apes are, but yeah, to assume just because of where we're at right now that it's hard to see that light at the end of the tunnel, or what those use cases look like, or what spurs on the next bull market,
dude.
To say that it's not going to happen just because you can't see it right now, I think is a tough.
You made a fucking great point right there, Gif. Like, you were able to see projects building and see the light at the end of the tunnel. You know how hard it was to see the light at the end of the tunnel in here when there was nothing? Like, you think about the building that's happening right now. We went over like 15 different projects doing some really dope shit. There was zero happening here. Zero. I'm talking 18 to early DeFi summer. Nothing. No, like, maybe the top 5 projects were like putting out some things and like saying, oh, Chainlink's going to be around and Aave is going to be around and we'll be around. But the amount and intensity that we're seeing on the building side between this bear market and this bear market is literally night and day. I could not explain to you more how nothing was happening.
Yeah. Well, and look, I think Marty is speaking from a very personal place right now, and I don't want to editorialize on what's going on. And whether or not some points are fair, I think you're disregarding the fact that like art matters. Digital art does matter. People are always going to want to speculate on
games matter
and artists. Games matter. Culture matters. Collectibles are really matter. Brands, tribalism, being part of a club, all of these things, special access. These things don't go away, and as humans, whether or not like you're feeling it right now doesn't change that these are actually triggers for human behaviors, that people value these things, and that's not going to go away. So maybe your case could be like, oh, there will be something better than NFT technology to service all of these needs. I don't know what that is. I feel like there's blockchain tech that empowers all of these use cases and applications, and NFTs serve a very specific function to unlock a lot of that utility and build on top of the blockchain. So maybe there's something else that comes along that could supplant NFTs. That to me would be the worst case scenario for NFTs. If something better, a different technology comes along that supplants it entirely and can do all of this stuff better, then I'm like, okay, now NFTs are really in trouble, right? Because that's a technological shift that basically undoes all of the value that NFTs are providing. But unless you can undo all of that value, it's hard for me to sit here and say NFTs are never going to matter.
I will say, like we said in the bull market, if you had your head on straight, you understood that a lot of NFT projects were going to go to near zero. That will still be the case. So at no point am I saying we're going to have the same projects that were there kind of stay, right when it comes back, everyone's going to be able to sell out for the liquidity. No. What happened in the ICO phase, what's a better version of an ICO GIF? Like an initial coin offering where somebody sets up a date and time for everybody to get in at one time and exchange ETH for an asset. What's a better ICO? An NFT sale. that's all they were. In a sense, I mean, you could go ahead and make the argument that you know, that there's art and all this stuff, but you know, I'm talking about larger 10K drops at this point. A lot of what happened in the bull run was just another repurposed version of an ICO. They launched 10,000 tokens and said, you give us ETH and we'll give you this thing, and there. So in a way, what you just said is true. There will be another technology that comes by. It's probably what a more advanced NFT you know, technology looks like, and new projects will spawn up that utilize that, and we'll see another bull run that way. Only the best of the last cycle will make that transition. The others will completely go to near zero. So I'm serious, man. Like, I look at NFTs, I'm like, most of those NFT sales, those PFP sales, were just repurposed ICOs. Way to bootstrap a small business to try to get to that next level. So all right, we're on a pulpit for sure. Right now, man. You had a lot of great takes there. Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
Yeah, well, likewise, and yeah, it's like I'm definitely not trying to discount anyone's opinion, and I think Marty's had a lot of really smart takes, and he's definitely picking up on there's a lot of negativity in the space, and we are at a dark point. So yeah, how long or how bad it gets from here, who knows? Who knows, man? You know, we're not going out on like a very fun note right now, but yeah, it's obviously, again, we're believers in the tech, and I think, like you were saying, it's like it's not necessarily going to be the same projects that come up. It's actually almost definitely not, right? People get hype and excited about new things and new utilities, new use cases. That's where the momentum goes. So the projects that can keep building and recapture that and invigorate and like do all those types of things to stay relevant and capture some of that momentum again, they're going to do tremendously well in the future. Mm-hmm. A lot of the rest, like you said, will be dead, but then it's going to be new projects, new utilities, new use cases, new technology that come and become really interesting.
And let's be fair, and let's wrap it up here as well, because we are at the 2-hour mark. People are going to gamble. It's not human nature.
Exactly.
Is not going to change.
And that's the whole point too of like, oh, well, when ETH's at 4K, like nobody's buying NFTs. It's like, okay, but like,
I guarantee there was somebody.
Why do you say that?
There's somebody in 2015 that was like, ETH's never going to be worth $100 again.
People are buying Pepe Pee Pees that are like literally like racist, scary, offensive things that can't even reveal right now.
Yeah. Yeah, there were some pictures there that we saw. I don't know if you guys picked up on that when we pulled it up, but there were definitely some where I'll back up gift there. There was some there. But all right, we thought we were going to end it on a good note, but I guess we had 2 hours of good and bad, which is a fair assessment of the industry right now. There's a lot, like that Bored Ape video, sick. You know, there's a lot of cool stuff happening in this space, even outside of apes. I like what Nike was doing with that artifact cloning as well. So yeah, stoked.
Appreciate y'all. Yeah, appreciate y'all in the chat. If you haven't smashed the like, come on, fam, give us some love. We really, really appreciate it when you do. And you know what? It helps get the gospel of Web3 out to more people. That's how algorithms work, apparently. That little button down there, you can help us out. We appreciate it. And we won't be use those thumbs or whatever. We won't be back tomorrow, I don't believe, because I'm traveling. I don't know. Are you doing the show without me? Actually, are you bringing Ronan on?
I'll see if I can get. Well, Ronan's going to be on either Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll see what we can do. So play it by ear.
Solo dolo. You gonna just run it?
Wait, we rocked one last week, so maybe we can. Maybe we can keep it up. So, yeah, guys. Anyways, we'll keep you updated on our Twitter to see if we're having a show. We appreciate you guys. Our vibe, our tribe. That was a good conversation, honestly. Like, that's what we seek here on the show, is just to, like, you know, banter back and forth and see what people think about the space right now and highlight really awesome things. So, Marty's saying, I hope you're right. I hope we are too, brother. So, Ballistic Banana saying cyber brokers. We'll cover them next time we're on NFT Live. So thank you guys so much. GIF, I'll let you take it out. Our vibe, our tribe.
Yeah, man. You said it. Shout out to these amazing people in the chat. Y'all were absolutely lit, keeping this conversation super interesting. Smash the like for Nifty Q. Awesome conversation we just had. But yeah, Prodigy, Choina, Hash Rhymes, Ballistic, Marty, all y'all, Squashman, y'all freaking killed it. And we appreciate you a ton. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe and smash the like. And that's it. Our vibe, our tribe. We will be back soon, but I hope I'll see some of y'all in Austin. Maybe.
Yeehaw.
The flex, bumping Justin Bieber, the fever and left. She know what she need, all she blessed. Giving you my best. Yeah, I got my heart on my sleeve with a knife in my back. What's with that? 21, I love him, then my brother, that's my stat. Metro made the beat, so you know that it's gon' slap. Yeah, it's gon' slap. Tell him run it back. Talking to a diva, yeah, she on my nerves. She think that I need her, kick her to the curb. All I know is you could've had the world, yeah, you were my world.
Got these pearls on my neck, got these girls on my check. Like Selena, baby, on my Gina, baby, yeah. She taking a Lambo for a drive, it's in my fancy door. And she way out the store. I got my heart on my sleeve with the city on my back, ain't no cap. Say she from Toronto, but can't find it on the map. That's on me, I put her in the past. Let's know that.
Talking to a diva, yeah, she on my nerves. She think that I need her, kick her to the curb. All I know is you could've had the world, yeah, you were my. I came in with my ex like Selena, the flex, bumping Justin Bieber, the fever and left. She know what she need, all she blessed. Giving you my best. Yeah, I got my heart on my sleeve with a knife in my back. What's with that? 21, I love him, then my brother, that's my stat. Metro made the beat, so you know that it's gon' slap.